Welcome. This is a Public Works podcast. My name is Joseph Blackman. Today, got a real treat for you. His name is Austen Everett, and he is the president of Everett Equipment down in beautiful Florida. Austin, say what's up to everybody.
How you doing, everybody?
All right, Austin. So let's get into it, man. You're the president of Everett Equipment. Let's talk about what your company does, what value you provide to, let's say, the universe, the world, Florida, and then we'll get into a backstory on Austin.
Yeah, so Evervac Equipment's a sole Florida heavy equipment dealership servicing the municipal market and contractor market that really services the municipal market as well. Contractor market might be any of the underground infrastructure, maintenance, anything like that. We really service, sales, support that entire market here in Florida.
Good stuff. And let's kind of go into what products you guys hold. What kind of your lineup is, and what you guys got going in regards to that.
Yeah, so we're sole source dealer here in Florida for a few strong product lines that we have hand selected here. And one, GatVacs, which is a premium vac truck manufacturer. They manufacture your combination jetter trucks, hydro excavators, your jetter trailers, your industrial vacs, hydrovacs, air excavators, all the above in the hydro excavation, jetting, sewer, stormwater world. We represent Aries inspection cameras throughout Florida. They have everything from your mainline inspection cameras to your cutter trucks, to your lateral launch systems, to your manhole inspection systems, really everything in the camera inspection world. Nostech for jetting nozzles, for your sewer and stormwater jetting nozzles. We also represent Crewplex, which is a noise canceling communication headset line that is great on all the job sites that we go to every single day, as well as plenty more out there in Florida with all the construction going on. And last but not least, we are a sole dealer here for Hawthorne, which is a push camera manufacturer. All they do is push cameras, and in my opinion, they are the best, as well as every product line we represent here in Florida.
Gotcha. And it's interesting. I think I saw like a map a couple of days ago, and it had like the state with the most growth, and I think Florida was like top 3 probably. So
Yeah.
have you? I mean, with you having the business, have you started to see that growth come in? In regards to cities are growing. Hey, we need another truck. Hey, we need more camera equipment. We got another crew because we just added another 100 homes and more infrastructure.
Yes. Anyone coming to Florida, whether you're snowbird coming down to visit or someone that lives here, construction is everywhere every single day. It never ends. Seems like the same road is under construction here for years and years and years, and they're just redoing roads. New subdivisions are going in every day. New infrastructure has to go in every single day before these subdivisions, before a house, before a complex, before a new city is built. No matter what, the infrastructure is the first thing has to go in, and that is ever growing in Florida because everybody wants to come to Florida. And
Sure.
it has grown this year since we started the company, but it has been growing nonstop for the past few decades.
Yeah, totally. And let's get into Austin's backstory. I'm sure you didn't wake up as a mushroom yesterday and become a business owner. So let's talk about what you were doing like out of high school, all the way up to where you're at today.
Yeah, so I'm from Florida. My whole family's been here for we outside the Gainesville area, High Springs. No one really knows where that is, so I always say Gainesville. But we've been here for close to 200 years. My family has, and so we have deep roots here in Florida. We've always have been here. I don't plan on leaving either. And that really is a focus here on the dealership, is being specialized and focused here in the state. But I went to high school up in Alachua at Santa Fe High, and ended up choosing to study architecture out of high school. Went to USF here in Tampa, and ended up switching, as you do, everyone does in college, it seems like, switch your majors a few times, find out what you really like, switch it over. And I ended up graduating with environmental science and policy. After school, I went and I worked, I interned during school. Then after school, I went and worked for an environmental consulting firm doing a lot of groundwater soil remediation on contaminated sites, emergency response spills, stuff like that. Worked my way up with that company and really sat back and came to a turning point inside on trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Took the LSAT, got accepted to law school, didn't want to do that anymore. Then I got the opportunity one of my buddies works for a dealership here in Florida, and he recommended me as a position. I went and I started on with them. I left Florida for Georgia and started on the ground level selling, your nozzles, your tooling, your accessories, and really got an idea for everything that goes into this market. The real ins and outs of all the equipment, not just selling the equipment, not just servicing the equipment, but everything that goes into the equipment and how it's ran and why the customers run the equipment the way they do and why they do. So I'm grateful for that. It provided me with a great background of what I do now. And I ended up moving up with the company and representing the hydro excavation line here in Florida. Did great with that. And that really exposed me to the full size truck, selling that across the state, especially a territory the size of Florida. And eventually it went and came to a crossroads again of how I want to, progress my career in life, and took what I've learned in the past and what I currently know and combined all of that. And we settled right here and starting my own dealership, focusing here in Florida. And like I said, we hand selected the manufacturers we represent, fortunate enough that they believe in me and the company, and we're rocking and rolling.
Dude, I love it, man. I love it. I love the good old, I'm just gonna venture out on my own and do my own business story, because so many of us have been there and some of us have taken the leap and actually done it. I love how you did it. So kind of walk us through it. Like, what is let's say day one, like, you decide you're gonna have your own dealership. Then you got to figure out what lines you're gonna represent. Like, what kind of due diligence goes in behind that? Like, are you flying all over the place? You getting testimonials? Like, what does that look like? Figuring out what products you're gonna represent, because you're only as good as the products you rep, and the manufacturer's only as good as their dealers, so to say. So what's that like?
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of the things when I started with nozzles and the tooling, I go out and I'm representing, doing a nozzle demonstration with a customer. They might not have our brand truck. They might have one of 6 different brands. So, I either roll up to the site with my nozzles and like, man, I'm pumped to do this demo because they have an awesome truck that's going to run my nozzle great. Or I pull up to this other guy who has a 15-year-old truck and, it's limping along and I don't think it's going to do too well. But in that, to that point, I got to run all the manufacturer's equipment. So it really gave me an idea of which equipment was great and which equipment, they're not as great, and which one ran the equipment well, which one didn't, and also which ones the customers like running. That was huge. In the first manufacturer I pursued was GapVax. The one thing you'll hear about GapVax, if you ask anybody, no one has a bad thing to say about GapVax. That was day one, the first manufacturer I wanted to represent. We were fortunate enough to be able to be the dealer for them here in Florida. But that was day one. Whenever we signed on with GapVax, that is day one. But before that, due diligence went in to asking business owners here in Florida, hey, have you ran this truck? What manufacturers do you like? Which ones don't you like? What are some things that you guys utilize every day that I could help benefit you with? So I want, to me as a dealership, is to solve problems and be there and support and service the customers. So that's day one, getting GapVax, talking to business owners, creating my business plan to see the vision that I want to bring the company to be into fruition. Because it's not, with this industry, especially with lead times, it's not a year, 5-year plan. It is a 10-year, 20-year plan that you really have to spread out and focus on and hit your goals. It's a long game. It's definitely not a short game with this. And
Sure.
I think we're in a great spot for it, and very happy to be here. And that day one has turned into month 8 now, and
Wow.
it's moving
Cool.
along step by step. And we want to stay focused on what we're doing and specialized in the products we have, rather than getting 20 different products and not being able to focus on all
Yeah.
20.
Seen that before.
Yeah,
So since you've been on the dealership side and now you own a dealership, so what
yep,
are we're not here to bash or name names or anything
no,
crazy, but like what are some things that Austin's like, you know what, when I get my own dealership, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Not that it was done bad at the place you were before or
yeah.
anything like that, but what are some of that, that flag you stick in the sand and go, we're going to do this and we're going to be the best at this. We're going to do this right.
Yep, support. Support
Support.
is
Like,
key. Support is key, whether that be municipalities or contractors. Being there, answering the phone every single time someone calls, uh, not thinking you're too big to take on and help a customer that has a jetter trailer and working up to a truck, over prioritizing a customer that has 25 trucks. Uh, Being there for everybody, no matter what, servicing those people, doing your best to service. And again, it all comes back to support. Sales will come, but as long as my plan is, as long as you support, be there for the customer, put them first, and do everything you can to support them. I think that they see that, and that'll pay dividends in the long run.
sure. I love it. Support, man. That's huge. So you were in it. You were selling nozzles. You're making your sales routes. You're doing your calls and stuff. You're out with the guys. But being a business owner now, how do you know? Because I learned that the more we progress throughout our career, the further away from like that hands-on, that actual being out in the field with the guys, we get away from that. So how do you scratch that itch of getting down and dirty with the guys and actually leaning on the product and listening to what some of the issues they might have with other equipment, and just to be able to position yourself the best way?
Yeah, and that's the beauty about this industry, is we are down and dirty pretty much every day when we're doing demonstrations in the field. No one wants to look at a brochure and look at a picture of this truck. I mean, you're looking at a 5-inch picture of a triaxle tandem axle truck. It doesn't do it justice, especially when you see them running down the road. It just doesn't do the truck justice. So um, we are out in the field every day. That it scratches the itch, definitely, especially with all the product lines that we have, uh,
Yeah.
which a lot of the dealerships here in Florida and the Southeast have the same type of product lines. But I I'm out there in the field every day, whether it be calling on customers or bringing equipment by and doing live demonstrations, going by there, just showing them what we have, seeing what they have, seeing how they like their current equipment compared to, what their job application is, seeing if there's anything we could do to help them out. So yeah, we scratch that, like I said, scratch that itch every day. And
Sure.
part of the job that you have to like is being out in the field. It's
Yeah.
definitely it's one of those hot jobs. So
Sure, sure. All right, let's say somebody's in their car right now. They're working for somebody and they're like, you know what? I've got an idea. I got a business plan that I can put together. I want to strike out on my own and do my own dealership. What would you say is a skill set that one would need to possess to be a successful dealer owner?
one thing that I had a piece of advice given to me when I was asking business owners is, there's a few traits that I'll go over, but one thing just popped up. Um, if you don't, it's always good to have somebody on board with you that you can bounce ideas off of, that it has opposite strength as you. So you might be strong in organizational skills and they might be strong in sales skills. Come together, you bounce ideas off each other, and you can make your company stronger, because having just one idea a lot of the time isn't as good as you might think it is. But being motivated every day to get up and go to work, having that motivational reason to get up and go to work every day, being organized, having that sales aspect, that sales mindset, but overall, being a people person, being able to talk to somebody, just a normal conversation with someone, rather than that you always hear at that used car sales pitch. Just be normal, and I think that goes a long way.
For sure, for sure. How does Austin keep showing up better and better? Why do you keep your sword sharp? Like, what are you doing intentionally, proactively to go out? find information, bring it back into your brain and then distill it and then be able to operate more efficiently moving forward.
Yeah, I think you have to be repetitive. I mean, anything comes practice cures everything. If you go and you run a piece of equipment, and then 3 months go down the road, and you try to run that piece of equipment again, yeah, you're going to do it, but you're not going to be as good as you would if you were doing it every week, every day, something like that. So I try to go out, and if it's running my equipment or someone else's equipment, that bounces back to customer support going out there. We go out there and run their nozzles, run their truck, be out there and just ask them questions. What are you guys facing? What kind of problems are you facing? And that really sharpens my iron, and keeps me focused, concentrated, motivated, and learning every single day.
Gotcha. And what do you say to the concept is called a silver tsunami? Like we got the more seasoned operators, supervisors, directors, they're leaving the industry. And they, I wouldn't say they built America, but they had a lot to do with like, making America tick because they knew everything and they learned it all kind of like on the job. So what do you say to the younger generation coming in and we have to fill their shoes? Um, what would you say Evervac is doing to, I guess, relieve that? And then also like what's your philosophy on, being younger in the industry?
Yeah, there's not a lot of younger people in our industry. And you see that every day, whether that be, especially dealership wise. Uh, I mean, no one goes to school or goes to high school, goes to college, wherever, and says, "Hey, I'm going to work in the sewer industry." It is no. You go and ask anybody in the industry, and they always say, "I didn't choose this industry; we just somehow fell into it." No one chooses it. So,
So true.
um, yeah, and so for the younger generation, I mean, you see it every day when it comes to skill sets. I mean, your welders, your fabricators, your anything with manual labor is going harder and harder for anybody to find somebody younger that one wants to work, and two has a skill set, or three has the want to learn how to learn that skill set. Very hard. You see that every day with hiring people in my own company. Um, But the way to circumvent that, I mean, it's tough. It's almost like you have to instill this in kids and people from the beginning, which you see a lot of these manufacturers going to local high schools and almost putting a welding program together so they can come right out of high school and go right into a full paid job at the factory. Um, Ways to get creative like that is how I think we have to do it, because I'm not sure otherwise how to. I don't.
Yeah.
It's hard to introduce people into this industry.
Sure, you're so right. There's so many people I talk to, like, well, how'd you make your way into this industry? And they're like, well, I was looking for a job, and my cousin had this, and he said, start with the city, or you know,
Yep.
get on with the county, and they 30 years later, they're like, man, I've been in this for 30 years. So
Yep.
it's interesting you said that. We agree on that. What would you say is the biggest misconception about what you do? Like, let's say we went to your hometown. You say you've been there for or you guys have been there for
Yeah.
200 years. And like, oh, Austin's got this business. He's doing sewer trucks or whatever. What do you think? Like, let's say I ask somebody that knows you, but they don't know exactly what you do. They don't work with you. What would they get wrong about explaining what you actually do in business?
One, they would have no idea. They're like, oh, Austen, I think he sells, what are they, like poop trucks? That's what the common term is for all these trucks. But they don't know the day to day. They don't know the ins and outs. They don't know the accessories, the what it takes to maintain the infrastructure. Uh, I mean, a truck is pretty expensive. An accessory for the truck is pretty expensive, and you need all of that to maintain the infrastructure. And people don't know, just live your day to day life, and they don't know what's underneath them. That's been there ever since they've been there. But that's all. Anybody, the misconception would be is, they don't understand what it takes in this industry to maintain what we have going on, what it maintains just to turn your water on. to flush your toilet, to it rains, but I'm upset because the streets are flooded. Well, why is that? And that's the big misconception that I think we really need to get out there. And I think it's only going to become more prevalent as the infrastructure gets older and older. And I think bills will be in place and some mandates will be in place where we upgrade all this current infrastructure, which we see it all the time, people talking about it on the news. But I think there needs to be a big push. But that is no, we get off topic there, but I think that's the misconception especially about this industry.
Sure, I'd agree with that. What's the person in your seat right now, the owner of a dealership who deals with municipal sewer environmental equipment? What problem are they going to be solving 50 years from now? AI is going to be around. We're going to have glasses on that show us everything. We're going to have TikTok 8.0. It's going to be crazy. We're going to
Yep.
yeah, we're only going to have millennials and Gen Zers in the industry. Like, what's that going to look like? And then what when you're thinking about the future of your business, your 20-50 year plan, what's that going to look like?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about 50 years because you think about what happened 50 years ago, where the world was then. But what was there was the underground pipes and infrastructure and a basic vacuum and jetting system to clean it. So I think this concept of jetting, backing, your underground infrastructure will remain the same.
Yeah.
But maybe they come up with because right now you're seeing a lot of this infrastructure being lined. Maybe they come up with a revolutionize the way that we lay this infrastructure without harming, I don't know, the residents. Because now Florida's slams with. I mean, you can't go to the neighborhood and just dig up the sewer pipe. It'll ruin all the roads, back up the roads. No one can get to work. No one can drive. I think there will be a way that we revolutionize the industry by just doing something else I don't know, how to maintain these existing lines and upgrade them. I know like I said, we have the lining, but for my industry wise, I mean, where I sit, it's hard to plan that far. It's I have no idea. I think the technology side is going to come in big time with the cameras, but for the jetting and vac truck world, I think might stay the same for like we have. The cameras will definitely progress though as technology does.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. There's really no foreseeable way to innovate moving dirt, and then also poop is still going to move somewhere. It's probably the underground because nobody wants to see it or smell it. So I don't see a new type of pipe to where we don't need pipes underground. So
no idea.
I don't see poop just being disintegrated into the Thanos snap, like nothing like that. So it's interesting. Like, I like to think about the future just to kind of skate to where the puck is going instead of where the puck is currently at. But I don't see it yet. I don't see it. I do think that we will continue to get our systems in place to where we can operate more efficiently. But I don't see where that hack of an innovation is coming from yet. So
maybe they'll introduce something right before the lateral or the main that just dissolves everything that's about to come into it. I don't know.
And then what the environmental implications are of that, like what's going to be the buckshot of that?
There's always something.
Yeah. All right, so I like the way you think about things. You think about day to day. You're out in the field. You're getting your hands dirty. And you also kind of think about the future. But what would you want to ask of, like, let's say the community in regards to public work? Like, let's say you're commissioned to put up a billboard, and it's going to be in the most trafficked area of where you're at. What would you want to put on the billboard in regards to public works that you would ask of the community?
Man, I would probably something when it comes to the lines of just awareness. Hey, I mean, I don't know, put a QR code up there and have them scan it. I don't know, it gives a link to the website, quick 1 minute YouTube video on what's actually underneath these people as they're driving right now.
Yeah.
What the repair is that's shut down traffic, the one lane of traffic on the street over. Um, something like that provides insight on your city, your county, public works division, and what they're doing to solve and maintain your day-to-day operation of civilian life.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. I like it. All right. I always like to leave a space on the show for you to thank mentors that you had along your journey, and then also offer up a word of inspiration and motivation to your dealer owner
Mm.
counterparts.
Yeah. So, I mean, hey, as you got to give shout out to your family. My mom and dad have always been there from the beginning, and number one thing they taught me is hard work. And I think that's one thing that's really fading in today's generation is the ability to work hard, want to work hard, and learn how to work hard. So I thank them for that. Thank father-in-law Alex, business partner, wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. His insight has been very valuable in the day-to-day operations and earning my field master's degree. So some words of advice. I think the hardest thing about doing what I've done, and a lot of people will have ran into this issue. The hardest part about starting anything is doing it. It's so hard to take a leap, but once you do, you focus everything on it, and you have the motivation. The motivation comes out of nowhere and kicks you into gear to really start it. I think that's the number one piece of advice. And
Sure.
one thing I've always gone by too is, the world is always changing, whether it be technology or anything. And one quote that's always got me is, without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible. So always be different, always be changing, and always be progressing.
Sure, sure. I love that you're part of motivation. I read somewhere, and it makes so much sense. Like, don't wait till you're motivated to start. Like, start, and then the motivation will come. And that's
Exactly.
so true. Like, we can wait around and say, "Man, I'm gonna start making calls." When I'm motivated. Like, no, you just make your first call, and you'll find out. Like, second, third, and it'll keep coming. So, thanks for
Yep.
for bringing that up. That's a kick in the butt to all of us out there, for sure.
Absolutely. You got to make yourself
Start.
uncomfortable.
For sure. All right. Let's say I'm coming to town and I text you ahead of time and I'm like, "Hey, Austin, where can I go to get the best burger in your part of Florida?" Where are you going to say?
So I'm in Tampa. If you're coming here, we're going to go get fresh seafood. No burger. So going to the original, the OG down in South Tampa, we're going to Big Ray's Fish Camp and get the grouper sandwich. Can't beat it. Or go to Eulalie and get their pompano. Best two meal, in my opinion, I won't say best two, top 5 meals for me here in Tampa. And that's 100% where we go.
All right. I like it. Good stuff, Austin. Where can we find, I guess, share your links and then what you guys might have coming down the pipeline for Evervac? Anything you want to announce or share with us?
Yeah, so I have our website, which is www.evervacfl.com. We're on LinkedIn as well. You can go to Evervac Equipment on LinkedIn, or you can go find me, Austen Everett. Austen was spelled with an E. It's just a little different. But we're new and we're growing, and it's a fun ride and it's fun to follow as well. So stay tuned, and we'll have more exciting announcements soon. We're looking forward to them.
Love it. And please, I heard this entrepreneur say that we wish we could see Jeff Bezos document his whole journey with Amazon. From day 10, hey, we got this going on. We got our first book shipped out. So please document what you're doing, Austin, because some of us want to watch your success story. We want to be able to look back 20 years and go, man, I remember he did that podcast with this Joseph guy. And now look at him. He's got 20 dealerships and he's worldwide with this stuff. So please don't be afraid to document and share what you're doing. You got a fan in me. And I'm sure a lot of other people are pulling for you as well. Any final words before we get out of here?
No, that was great. I appreciate you having me on. This has been great. And anybody who's thinking about doing this podcast, definitely do it. It'll be great for you. And it was a great setting and great questions. And I really enjoyed myself.
For sure. Thank you, Austin. To all the listeners out there, make sure you share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. If they're in the Florida area and they need some equipment, have them reach out to Austin. He'll get them taken care of. Support is what he's leaning on. And I think we need more of that in this industry. So thank you for doing that. This has been the Public Works Podcast, and thanks for tuning in.